We've got free Cowboys videos for you guys right here on the channel. So if you like the Cowboys, if you want to stay in the know with what's going on, hit that sub button on the Cowboys Report as we talk trades on today's show. I hate starting with this one, but it's where we're at. There's been speculation headlines of, maybe the Cowboys could trade away CeeDee Lamb based on Jerry Jones quotes. Let's go into the Jerry Jones quote, because remember, I'm fluent-ish in Jerry speak. That was a very Jerry line there, by the way, saying fluid. He's out there and he's more valuable than anybody else. But that valuable, to have to give up 4 or 5 players to have him, you have to get that reconciled. That's what I'm trying to say. It's a lot quicker and easier said than done. Whoever has CeeDee, and I hope it's us, they're going to use him. You have to. You have to get that kind of mileage out of him. What has he shown us? That he's capable of carrying that load. We've got to have focus. Now, I've seen those quotes framed as they're shopping Lamb, or could they trade Lamb? That's the logical conclusion. It's not how I view it at all, actually. I don't view those quotes as anything involving, well, maybe we get 4 or 5 players in a trade for CeeDee Lamb. What it is, and they've done this before with other players, they are firing up the excuse machine already. Oh, we got that insert player contract coming down the line. That is a classic Jones boys favorite. They love to do the, we can't afford this. We got the large contract 2 years down the line coming in. There's only so much pie to go around. That's what they're saying. They're saying paying CeeDee Lamb will cost them 4 or 5 players that they want to keep, which, not really the case at all. So, to be clear on this, trading CeeDee Lamb is stupid. That is probably the worst move the Cowboys could make this offseason. Ask the Tennessee Titans how that went for them. How do they feel about trading away A.J. Brown? Because they would pay him $25 million, by the way, which the market's now much higher. CeeDee Lamb's played 4 years so far in the NFL. He's gotten better every season. He has averaged over 1,000 yards every season of his career. His targets, catches, and touchdowns have gone up every single year. Now, that might very well end this year. This might not be the case where they do it for a 4th season in a row in his 5th year. But CeeDee Lamb is a superstar wide receiver. Even if you wanted to rebuild with a new young quarterback in 2 years, whatever, you know what you were doing if you were trading CeeDee Lamb? You would be desperately trying to find another wide receiver to be that number 1 guy because you don't have anyone near it on the roster. So they're not trying to trade Lamb. They're just trying to win the excuse machine battle. That's all they're doing. Now, I do believe in democracy. So I will allow you to vote yes on this one. I think you're crazy if you do it. Would you trade CeeDee Lamb? Y for yes, N for no. A draft trade idea coming to us from the latest CBS Sports mock draft. Olu Fashanu out of Penn State was the trade-up target for CBS. Here's what Ryan Wilson wrote, citing Rick Spielman's thoughts on this as well. Huge trade from the Cowboys. Jerry Jones with 11 spots to the Raiders, pick number 13 overall. Select Tyron Smith's replacement. It's unknown what Dallas would have to pay to make this move. Rick Spielman loves the fit. They got the second best left tackle and the biggest needs on my offensive line, maybe on my football team, Spielman said about that potential idea. Now, I agree with Rick. It's a great idea, like the talent, the impact, fit, all works out well. This idea that it's unknown what Dallas would have to pay, we know what it costs. So CBS Sports, if you're watching, don't worry. I will do your job for you and tell you what the trade-up cost would be. But first, a word from today's sponsor, Prize Picks. Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. It's the best way to get in on the action on sports in more than 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, and Georgia. March might be over, but the biggest moments in college basketball tip off in the month of April. Be a part of the action on Prize Picks for both men's and women's college basketball, plus the NBA postseason. Not that far away. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what make Prize Picks the #1 fantasy sports app. You can also do season-long NFL Prize Picks. Patrick Mahomes, more than passing yards. Dak Prescott, more than passing yards. CeeDee Lamb, more than receiving scores. Micah Parsons, more than 12.75 sacks. The season-long numbers kind of factor in the injury downside. So you go with the more that to stay healthy, they'll almost certainly end up hitting it. So download the app today at prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. It's Prize Picks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Now, since CBS Sports had no idea what the trade would be, here's what it would actually be. To get to 13, this is almost an exact match on the updated version of the NFL trade chart, the one that NFL teams tend to use, a version of, at least they're always a little bit different. It's your first and your second round pick. That is what it would cost to go from 24 to 13. Now, I love Fashanu. I love the fit. Adding a player of that caliber, I think you've got potential all-pro duo on the left side of your line for the next 10-plus years in Fashanu and Tyler Smith. His numbers were awesome at Penn State. He's not a great run blocker. I think there's room for growth on that front. I think the knee that he coming off last year kind of hurt him a little bit this past season, but he allowed 10 hurries all year long. The athletic upside in terms of a pass protector is so good. So good. But I am so light on draft picks as is. I don't know how to manage this. If I have no first and no second, yes, I fixed left side of my offensive line. I've got running back. I'd love a receiver or corner. Probably not going to happen. Defensive line, linebacker. I've got one other pick in the top 175. Or 170. It's basically impossible for me to fill all of those other areas I want to fill. So do you want to trade up in the 2024 NFL Draft? T for trade up, P for pass, not the route you want to go. Sound off in the comments. Another trade name mentioned for Dallas, Bleacher Report, saying they should try to trade for Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, the Bucs edge rusher, JTS as I tend to call him. This has some intrigue from my end, emphasis on that front. The trade idea is as follows. The Cowboys get the pass rusher, the Bucs get the 5th round pick. You're probably not going to find a year one impact of that caliber in the 5th round. And if he plays well, great, you get a comp pick. If he doesn't, well, it's a 5th round pick, so be it. Now, the issue here is that his production has not been very good. 4 sacks, 5 sacks for the former number 1 round pick. It just hasn't been very good. Here's the argument from Bleacher Report. Joe Tryon profiles as an under-the-radar trade fodder. And finally, his rookie contract has been underwhelming since the Bucs took him with the 32nd pick in the 2021 NFL Draft. He has 13 sacks across his first 3 seasons, took a step back from year 2 to year 3 in his role on the Bucs defense. He only played 51% of the snaps in 2023 after playing over 70% in 2022. My problem here is this. Why would Tampa do this? He is still a starter for Tampa. They lost Shaq Barrett. Right now, it's Anthony Nelson and Yaya Diaby. So unless they spend a pick on a pass, in which case, okay, let's have a different conversation there. But if they don't add an edge rusher earlier, they're not going to trade him. It makes no sense for them. So I am not going to get my hopes up here. I will say, unlike some of the ideas we kind of poo-poo, this is a good thought process. You need edge rush help. You might not find one in the 5th round. Trading a day 3 draft pick, a mid to late one, for an impact player, in theory, is normally a good idea. Now, you do that a bunch, you're having that player help you out. And edge is an area of concern. You got Micah, you got Tank. We shall see if Sam Williams and Junior Fiocco break out, but that's kind of unknown, right? If I told you you'd spend a 5th round pick on an edge, he got you 5 sacks, that's awesome. Seems a bit unlikely. So I do like that thought process idea there. So name a player you want to trade for. Drop that player or players if you're an overachiever in the comments section. Khalil Herbert, again, linked to Dallas. It's like the third or fourth out, including ourselves here, and shout out to KU, who had the idea first in the comments, of trading for Khalil Herbert. We won't spend too much time on this. There was no specific trade package mentioned, but I think a 6th-round pick that we mentioned previously makes a lot of sense. Herbert is probably going to be running back 3 on the Chicago Bears, and he has been a good runner. Not a great third-down piece, but in smaller sample sizes, he's always been pretty productive. For a rotational back with a draft pick potentially as well, it's a good running back room, or at least good enough. Dowdle, Herbert, insert your day 2, day 3 draft pick you want. Deuce Vaughn, Malik Davis, Lipke Connor, practice squad, and more options there. I do think adding a back has to happen during the draft in April. Could be via trade. They have to get more talent at the spot. Running backs don't matter, sure, whatever, but that's always they don't matter as much as other players. Still need somebody back there to handle the rock.